Next Generation EV Innovation Summit. We will begin our event in 3 minutes. 3 minutes. So please kindly take a seat and switch your phone to the silent mode. Thank you. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of Taipei Computer Association and Taiwan Advanced Automotive Technology Development Association, it's our honor to welcome all of you to our Next Generation EV Innovation Summit. While the global automotive industry shifts to become more smart electric vehicles, a diverse and interconnected supply chain will be really vital to provide the necessary resources and expertise. To address the major changes in demand and supply, we are the future trends in the automotive industry. Today, we have invited experts from Tier 1 suppliers and tech leaders from Volkswagen Group, Continental, Indigo Technologies, and Geotab, flying from Germany, Canada, and Singapore to have a face-to-face interactions with all our audiences from today. Before we going forward, we would like to invite all our speakers onto the stage for a group photo. So let us welcome Mr. Rahil Ansari, CEO of Volkswagen Group Taiwan, onto the stage, please. Also, Mr. Wilson Khoo, the head of Kaese APAC Continental AG, onto the stage. Dr. Volker Kaese, CTO of Product and Production of Indigo Technologies, as well as Christoph Ludewig, the Vice President, OEM and EMEA from Geotab. All right, gentlemen, you guys look really good. Let's look into our camera in the middle. All right, please show your best smile into the camera. 3, 2, 1. That's great. Shall we do a double thumbs up? Yeah, that's right. All right, 3, 2, 1. That's good. Can we have some look on the left? Because I think we have some phones on the left as well. Okay, double thumbs up for our cameras on the left. Okay, on the left. Yeah, right here. All right. 3, 2, 1. That's really awesome. Thank you, gentlemen. Please kindly return to your seat. Can I have Mr. Ansari to remain on the stage to carry on your keynote speech? Yes, Mr. Ansari is the Managing Director of Audi Volkswagen Taiwan and Audi Taiwan. He will be sharing on the topic of e-mobility and digitalization, integrating services, channels, and future trends. Now I'll hand over the stage to Mr. Ansari.
Thank you very much.
Welcome.
大家好. Okay, that means you're a little asleep. Okay, I'll try my best to motivate you and make it a little more vibrant, more alive. I did not travel from Singapore or Germany. I had a very short travel from Xinyi to Nangang, 20 minutes. But okay. First things first, please scan the QR code because I'm going to ask you a question first. So in case you wish to participate, of course, it would be highly appreciated, because the more people participate in the question, or the more responses we have, the more accurate it is. I will just quickly ask anyone who is still scanning. Okay, some more I see. Maybe 5. Okay, there are some phones still. Don't worry, it's anonymous. I will not, there's no right or wrong. It's just to get a little bit of some feedback and some interaction going. So the first question I would like to ask you before I come, of course, to the mobility landscape of the future is how would you define the trend of mobility in the future? Actually, I've given you 4 responses. Multiple choices are, of course, available. The first one is sustainable material. Is it electric vehicles for you? Autonomous driving? Or maybe others, drones, and so on. Nothing wrong about this question. So we'll wait again. I'll try to keep you entertained within these few seconds. No one is having the phone, so any more in the hand? I think someone is still reading, okay. There we see, yeah. Of course, you can send some smileys and some hearts and some surprises as well. We have 51 participants. Okay, that's interesting. 39% still say like electric vehicles. Yeah, they will define the future of mobility. And the large part, of course, is then autonomous driving, 45%. 29% are only talking about sustainable material, and the others, drones and so on, is not the majority, the minority. That's already an interesting result. So let's deal with the first topic first. We all know that the world of mobility is diversifying. There are a lot of things happening in the world, but before we actually come to to those developments actually from companies, it's important to also have a look at the status quo. What are challenges that we as human beings that are living here, that are also part of this, are actually facing? And if you look at the four topics that are quite relevant, one is mobility and traffic. In mega cities of the world, 20 of the largest mega cities of the world, 154 hours are actually lost throughout a year. This is quite a lot. It's 7 days. Just imagine, 7 days of your entire year you lose in traffic. You spend basically idle, doing nothing, or being annoyed, maybe on the phone, listening to music, and so on. Let's park this for a second. Climate change, pollution. 90% of the world's urban population, they live in an environment which is actually not healthy, that fails to meet the WHO standards. Full stop. I think we all know that sustainability, environment is something that we have to look at, and 90% is actually a number that is not only critical, but it's actually very dangerous. Road safety. Now I come to a little bit more of the mobility topic. If you look at people who die, just a comparison, because we Taiwanese, we are very close to the US. I've taken the number of people who die in accidents in the US. 40,000 people, they actually die in the US on account of accidents. In Taiwan, according to the Ministry of Transport, it's 3,000. 3,000 people, which is too much. Out of which, maybe just a side note, 10%, this is 300, out of alcohol consumption. So that's also a bit of a critical topic. Urbanization, if we look at the trends and development of urbanization, 66% of people in 2050 will live in 41 mega cities of the world. Just digest this. Only 41 cities in the world, and 2/3 of the world's population is going to live by 2050 in those mega cities. This is a bit shocking, actually, if you ask me, because this also means it's just 27 years away from now. That's nothing. So what do we do with this data? Well, of course, and this is one of your answers, electric mobility or electric vehicles, they define or they will define the future of mobility. But when we come to EV adoption, we of course also face some challenges. We see this, yeah, there's insufficient charging infrastructure. Quite often this is the reason of people currently not to buy an electric vehicle. I'm afraid I have range anxiety because there is insufficient charging infrastructure. Of course, the past 2 years, war, economic sanctions we had, and of course everyone knows semiconductors, not a secret, that also happened. Chips shortage everywhere in the world, not only in the electric vehicle segment, but of course also in other sectors. This makes it quite difficult. And early stage open market chaos. It's very new. Yeah, electric vehicles, just to give you a number, a perspective, out of the total sales, out of the total cars that are sold in Taiwan, 4.5% are electric vehicles only. So if you look at some other markets in Europe, it's 10%. If we leave out Norway, Norway is the highest with around 70%. But this also means that the market is very dynamic. A lot of new developments happen. It's not happening in a structured manner. But if we look at how today car drivers are behaving and how in the next 10 years they will behave, you see a certain tendency. From car fanatics, mobility traditionalists, objectively car-dependent traveler, eco-conscious car complementer, or multi-modal urbanist. You will basically see that most of them you will find back in two brackets, two main brackets. One is, I still need a car, but actively seek to reduce my trips and consider more sustainable options. Topic of sustainability, you also mentioned. We also saw the number on 90% of cities not complying with WHR regulations in the world. And I use whatever is available to get me from A to B as conveniently as possible. The focus is on convenience. I'll come to this and I'll park the word convenience a little bit. This basically for consumers means they're shifting their mindset. The entire behavior is changing. People will, like I said, consider more sustainable options. The definition of a car might, but actually will expand to include emission-free models. And a car is not only traveling from A to B. We saw this, 154 hours. Just remember that number you spent in traffic jams in mega cities of the world. 7 days throughout the year lost. This is the reason why people say it's not only about traveling from A to B, but it's also about convenience. So how can we address all of those topics? Well, the first topic first, you know, electric vehicles. Currently, not always very cheap. The development cost is very high, but the higher the amount of sale is for electric vehicles, the cheaper, of course, the purchasing will be, the cheaper the development cost will be. Because then, yeah, you will have also reduction in battery prices, and that will, of course, eventually result in lower retail prices and lower accessibility of electric vehicles to customers. Secondly, the expectation of BEV, of battery electric vehicles, is that in 2025 it's already accounting to 20% of global sales. Like I said, in some countries, Taiwan, 4.5% currently. Global sales is 20%, and in 2035, 59%. By the way, for those who don't know, in Taiwan, we have a regulation, 2040, 100% electric vehicles. That means in 17 years from now, all of us sitting here have to drive electric vehicles in Taiwan. This is what it means. Third topic, adapting to vehicle innovation. Autonomous driving, connected driving, your car can talk to you. I'll come to this. Developing next generation digital capabilities, AI, digital overall. Of course, this is the elementary topic. You're not talking about only hardware, you're talking about the soft aspect, not software only, but the soft aspect of owning a car. I have to have, like I said earlier, convenience. So how is this going to be addressed? Digitalization will be and is already one of the most crucial factors to enable this transition to future mobility. Of course, the priority, and you see this as the last point, is data. Data is the key. And we see all of ourselves actually being willing to give more data to companies, to actually also service providers. Why are we doing this? The reason is simple, because we also want convenience. We want those companies to know us so that they can offer us preferences. And the same will, of course, happen also in the car industry. That's very clear. You see the nice app on the right side. This will basically also enable the customer journey. So you will define with digitalization the customer journey. Who of you is booking a service? Okay, let me ask one thing. Maybe just raise your hand. Who owns a car? Okay, a few hands. Out of those who own a car, who books a service via an app? Anyone who books a service via an app? 3, 4 people only, yeah? It's not much. Isn't it more convenient just to do this? Who's paying via this app, the service, out of you? Out of the 4 that were saying yes. That's exactly what it is. It's much easier. Why do I have to go? I need to go to the service. It's the most painful topic, yeah? You go to the service, car dealership, typically, I don't like it there. I just drop my car, maybe a cup of coffee, and then I leave. And the worst thing comes afterwards. I have to pay the bill because I'm always then quite annoyed. Oh, that's too much. People don't like that interaction. There are 2 elements that come to this. Manufacturers like us, they of course look into creating a more living room environment. Coffee, Starbucks coffee, we have integrated here in Taiwan. Anyone who wants a Starbucks coffee, please visit the Audi dealerships here in Taiwan. We have created a lounge. We've created it more like a living room. But still, people will not want to always go to a dealership. And this is why convenience like an app will play a crucial role. Service booking, drop off, pick up of the car, paying, that's it, done. Booking of a car, maybe booking additional services, booking maybe collection, and so on. Everything will happen via an app only. And we're not talking about next year or so. This is happening in many markets already in the next 2 to 3 months. So this is the development that's happening on the digital front. Now, AI, of course, is an elementary topic as well. AI is very critical. Yeah, we saw a few accidents with autonomous driving as well, and with artificial. I don't talk about artificial intelligence for the moment, but autonomous driving, which is then, of course, enabled by AI. So this is, of course, critical because safety first. We saw the amount of accidents that happen already now in the US and in Taiwan based on human error. So of course we have to be cautious, but still it will come because we are learning more and more about people. Data. Data, again, is the key. If I walk around here on all of the stands, I saw some heat maps, artificial intelligence. Yeah, someone was already saying hello, face recognition, hello, Mr. X. They knew. This is already what we're talking about, artificial intelligence. It's not very far away. And of course, this will enable then autonomous driving, but it will take some time because we all know that there are also regulations. These are currently the limitations because safety first. Independent of this, I would want to show you how could digitalization combined with AI look like in the Volkswagen in the future. And I've prepared a little bit of a video. Sorry, I have 3 videos. One video, there's a little bit of music. In the other two, I will explain a little more on those topics. But let's have a look at the first video. We'll immediately start with the second video because that will give you a little bit of a glimpse of the car. And this is where I would like to show you. It's about the space. We talked about conveniently traveling from A to B. The future will be more space-oriented. If you look at like entry is lower, the seats will move to the side. It's about convenience. Of course, it's a concept car, it's the future, but we're talking about the future of mobility. Digital elements. Start a new experience. Everything is digital. You will do a lot of things out of your car. Like I said, 66%, 2/3 of the population in 41 megacities of the world. This is what we're talking about. So many people. And then again, 154 hours of traffic jam. Where do you want to do this? It will increase. So it's important that you travel also in a different manner. Last video that I will show you, because this will focus on artificial intelligence. How will artificial intelligence actually look like in cars? This is the future. Your face recognition, and then automatically everything will be adjusted according to how your preference is. Because the car will know Mr. XYZ or Mrs. XYZ always travels at this seat adjustment, at this temperature, and also possibly with seat massage on and so on. The car will basically know everything about you. It's not only about mobile phones anymore. The mobile phone is your car. And this is the future of mobility. Of course, it's a long step. We're talking about transition. We're talking about, Mr. Ansari talks about now artificial intelligence, and we are at 4.5% electric vehicles only. Of course, it's a transition. It will not happen overnight, but this is exactly what the future of mobility will look like. There is a transition from EV, digitalization, jointly happening, to artificial intelligence, and of course, new concepts within a car. With this, I would like to thank you for having me on the stage. I'm not sure, I don't have time probably. If so, I have time, then I would be open to questions, of course. If there are questions, I would be happy to take one or two of them. If there are no questions, you don't have to be shy. There are no stupid questions, only stupid responses. Volker? What is my favorite car? That's a very mean question, but my favorite car is actually the RS e-tron GT. It's a sports car, and it's at the same time an electric car. This is my absolute favorite car at the moment. Will bring you a little bit quicker from Xinyi to Nangang, but drive safely, of course. Any other questions? There's one more, yeah.
We have a mic.
Yeah, I'd like to hear your view on the transition. What will happen to the install base of, 1.4 billion cars worldwide? So even if all the new cars will be electrified and smart, but there's still going to be a huge install base of cars. So how do you deal with the safety?
There will be less cars. And this is also how you saw the consumer trend. That you saw is that that consumers are looking for multiple options. They will not look at vehicles anymore.
Yes.
Of course, there will be sharing options, but they are looking also at other means of transportation, which basically means you will have naturally also less cars on the road.
Yeah.
Overall, at the same time, you will have them in less cities because you have more population. So this is actually the tricky thing, how we are going to manage this. And this is nothing that an auto manufacturer or auto manufacturers will manage on their own. We need regulations. We need, of course, also governments overall supporting this transition. Like I said, you also have 90% of the cities not fulfilling requirements of the WHO at the moment in those mega cities. That's critical. That journey will be critical. And honestly, that's not defined yet. It's clearly not defined yet because you have too many different countries with too many different regulations, starting with autonomous driving. Where do we see officially autonomous driving? Level 4. I talk about level 4. For those who don't know, level 0 to level 5.
Yeah, it just sounds that there's going to be a transition. This transition can take decades. So during this time, what do you do with the safety of people still on the road driving as human? So what's your view in terms of how do we increase safety for those human drivers?
Yeah, you see, for example, also driving assistance systems. They are actually working because as manufacturers we earn less money because there are less accidents. Yeah, it's the truth. It's the reality. Because our driving assistance systems are getting better, so the car does a lot of the things on its own. Not good for us from a financial perspective, but the safety first. It's also clear we have to do it. It's our responsibility to manage this. So whatever we have in our circle of influence, we are definitely doing from a manufacturer's perspective. Hey. One more.
Right there.
Am I allowed to take one more?
Yes, for sure.
Yes. Okay. Perfect.
Have a mic over there.
Mike, please. Thank you very much. Great presentation. So I have one question. So for your point of view, what is the biggest challenge for creating and deploying the regulation for AI for not only vehicle company, but also including AI and any suppliers? What do you think?
What the biggest challenge is?
Yes.
Data privacy.
Data privacy.
Yeah, people are scared. This is the topic. So we are, again, this is also a transition. We're now in a phase where people are more and more willing to accept the fact that companies, suppliers, manufacturers are owning data, are getting more information because they want more services.
Mm-hmm.
But on this way, it will also take some time for AI, because AI is the next level. Then it's okay to give my data. I am Rahil Ansari, I'm this years old, and so on and so forth, and I like eating sushi. But it's different that I have a face recognition everywhere. It's fear, it's human being. It's the natural tendency of human beings, the fear of giving something away from your personal and private space. But it will get there because also this is a transition. So it will take time, and with innovations that will be accepted, that will be successful, people will also be willing to give that entrance into their private spaces.
I agree with you. Thank you very much. So it's also very important for not only vehicle companies such as your company, OEM, so but also supplier and service provider, any company. Thank you very much.
I agree with you. Thank you. Hey.
All right, is that all?
Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Ansari. This is really exciting future to learn what Audi Volkswagen is actually working on towards the future of mobility. Thank you once again. All right, next up, our speaker. He has successfully identified collaborative opportunities with startups and SMEs in Singapore and helped to bring new technology and business model. Let us welcome Mr. Wilson Khoo, the Director, Head of COMPUTEX APAC, excluding mainland China from Continental AG. I hand over the stage.
Thank you very much for having me today. Right, good afternoon, everyone. 大家午安. Right, my name is Wilson. I'm from Continental. In Taiwan, 大家比较认识我们叫做马牌哦。那马牌你们比较认识的是轮胎哦。Most of you know us as a tire company. In fact, we are much more than that. And after hearing from one of our biggest customer, Volkswagen, right, at the OEM, it's time for us to hear about tier ones, right? So a bit of my background, right, for you guys to understand me. I come from a background of technology areas, engineering. In fact, as you can see, I have a background in many engineering areas, right, across, not deep, but broad. It's because of my job, the needs in my job that I need to bridge the gap between technology and businesses. Hence, understanding the various technology in the market is superbly important for us to bridge this gap. Another thing about myself, right, I joined Continental in 2018, right, and I stayed also previously prior to my career life in China as well for 10 years, right? Hence, bridging the gap between culture, between the East and the West is superbly important, right? So I spent most of my career communicating between the East and the West and communicating between engineering and businesses. My background as well in smart city areas, I used to run the smart city strategy for Continental in APAC, and now I run the startup organization here in APAC, excluding mainland China, for Continental. So a bit more on what is Continental, right? More than tires, right? We are actually the tier one supplier, which means that we supply to all the brands that you know in the market. Honda, Toyota, Volkswagen Group, right? All the brands under Volkswagen Group. And from the east to the west, Chinese OEMs, Chang'an, for example, is having our components in it, right? Ford in US has our component in it. So our organization over here is breakdown into 3 divisions. Number 1, automotive. Within the automotive business, it takes up half of our total revenue. Around 19 billion euros of our revenue comes from automotive side, and we are one of the top tier 1 supplier in the market. And within this, we have 5 business units, which includes safety and motion, taking care of ABS systems, braking systems, vehicle dynamics, right? Passive sensoronics. We have autonomous mobility, taking care of the future ADAS systems, right? We are in fact one of the leader for radar systems in vehicles, LiDAR system, cameras. We have user experience. We call it user experience. We used to call it HMI, human machine interfaces. And that's the display that you see in your vehicle. So if you drive, you have a large display at the front, right? The speedometers, the entertainment systems, all of those, these are under display technologies. We also have our HUD, heads-up displays. Next, we have architecture and network. This is a superbly important business unit. Architecture and network is basically the control units within a vehicle. So if you do not know, in a vehicle itself, it used to be mechanical, and when we start to digitize and digitalize vehicles itself, there's a lot of computers within your vehicle itself. So a small vehicle might have 30, 40 electronic control units. And a large one, like if you drive an S-Class, right, a 7 Series, 150, 200 ECUs. Because as computer is getting more and more important within the vehicle itself, right, there is more user applications that's been developed. There's more safety issues that needs to be resolved using digitalized control units. And in the future, where are we going in this business unit is HPC, high performance computers, right? Computers that is able to run 100 times now the speed, where we are able to control the whole vehicle with just one centralized systems, and also a few distributed systems for safety reasons as well. That is all under architecture and network. Last but not least is smart mobility, where we have our commercial vehicles, two-wheelers, as well as ITS systems, intelligent traffic systems, right, that is surrounding the automotive industry itself. So that's our automotive. So it's much more than the traditional tires that you know. We have our tires legacy products over here, which is from those bicycle tires all the way to those 1 to 2 story high mining tires, right? And also all the past vehicles tires, the passenger cars tires that you have, right, that you love and know. In COMPUTEX, it's very interesting. It is a business that most people doesn't know that we do. It is a rubber and plastic industries that is not within the traditional automotive business. So within that, you see surface solution, right? We have surface solutions that is for both automotive as well as living technologies. In the automotive business, your high-end brands, Ferraris and all, uses our textile. So you might be sitting on our fabric in those high-end cars. At the same time, in living technology, we have surface materials for, say, your countertops at home, your floorings, your wall, or even those for our printing services, the wine bottles, the wine packaging that you have. So it's very broad. Industrial solutions, we have industrial fluid systems, taking care of the chemical industries, the conveyor belt solutions for mining industries as well, and so on and so forth. A lot of applications. And I'm from Kaese, right, the startup arm of Continental, doing partnerships and investments. And we cut across the organizational level, right, penetrating all of these business units to understand what is going on within the organization, what is the strategy that we have, what is the pain points, strengths, weaknesses, bottlenecks. Continental, globally, we are 200,000 employees strong. We are in around 60 countries in 500 locations. And more than half of those are our own manufacturing plants. So hence, you know that manufacturing technology as well, cybersecurity as well, right? And sustainability is of most important. I'm based in Singapore. In Singapore, we are a tech center. We work very closely with the whole APAC market, including China. We are 1,400 there, 1,100 engineers, 800 software engineers. And by the number of engineers you know, the transformation within mobility is superbly important in the software businesses. And hence, 2 years ago, we announced that Continental is also going into digitization and digitalization of a lot of the applications that we're developing for customers. Hence, we have a department or a subsidiary called Electrobit. And also we acquired Argus in 2017, right, for 300 million euros to do cybersecurity. So, moving on, a bit about Kaese. It's a very busy slide, but I want you to focus more on the engaging technologies that we are doing. We are looking always for technologies in the market that can help us improve our current technologies, our products, expand our product portfolios, improve productivity, for example, I 4.0 in our plants, as well as reduction of cost. This is how we engage with the startup ecosystem and doing open innovation. We are trying to bring in technologies from ideas to MVPs and work together towards co-commercialization together in the market. So that's extremely important. And you can see that there's an extended box outside, right? Sustainability, because as all European companies like Volkswagen, right, we are extremely interested in how can we do decarbonization, how can we have carbon neutrality. So this is a very important aspect. We are located globally, and within our organization, Kaese, we have two important arms. One, partnerships, right? We partner with startups in the ecosystem, understanding whether there's a fit towards our organization, get the correct people to work with you guys, and then to push that technology into our value chain. And what's the outcome of that? The outcome that we are trying to get from here is to develop you guys, the startups, into our supplier, supplying us a technology, a service, or a product, right? A product licensing, for example. Second is that we would like to maybe partner with you. We see that there's a lot of strategic directions. Why not? We do co-research, co-development, co-commercialization, potentially co-own IP. So one example, in China, we have a JV called Horizon Robotics, right? that we co-invest together and we sell to the OEMs. This is one of the commercialization model that we have. And last but not least, our second arm, CVC, Corporate Venture Capital, invests into you as a strategic direction for us to explore new areas, new technologies. These three are not mutually exclusive. You can be working with us in all three areas as well, right? And understanding what are some of the commercialization directions that we have in such a corporate. We have a lot of processes that helps startups to be more engaging and expedite the process that we have internally. As you can see at the bottom, I have exploration, proof of concept, as well as post-proof of concept. This process over here is a funnel where we sift through and test out the technology to work with us internally. And this process is extremely important because it gets you to the correct people within the organization. The biggest pain point of co-commercialization with a large company is getting to talk to the right people. Because large organizations like us, 200,000 employees, you tend to know someone, but if you are not matched with the correct people, things will not move. It will never move if you are at the wrong department. So in this process, we're able to get the right people to do the right job and to get the right results out to do the evaluation whether or not we have an end goal in mind that we can work towards too. And with that, we are able to churn out good technologies as our supplier, as our partner within the whole value chain. That's the important part. In Taiwan, we have a very good partner here, operating partner, Mosaic Ventures Lab. So if you are interested in working with us at Continental, feel free to reach out to Mosaic Ventures Lab over here in Taiwan, right? And we will explore the possibilities that we can work here together. We also work with OEMs. You can see that Hyundai over here is our partners. In Israel, we are also working with, say, Renault, Nissan, Mitsubishi, and I'm also extremely close to the rest of the OEMs, like the Volkswagen Innovation Group and so on, right? How are you working with all these OEMs, our customers? It's important because a lot of times when startups approach an OEM, you have a very, very good technology that OEM is very, very interested in, but they do not have any idea how do I do an integration into a subsystem level or even lower level, because the OEMs has a lot of processes for the larger modules, right, that is directly to be integrated into the car. That is important to them. But they do not go into a very low level type of productions. And that's what we do over here at Continental as a supplier. We have a lot of platforms over here for integration for the startup technologies. And this is a direct fit if we not understand what's the next innovation direction that the OEMs that have, the brands that you know, Honda, Toyota, Volkswagen, they have, right? We will work together to get with them, right, to assess whether or not the technology is fitting for the future cars. And that is an important aspect where we talk with our customers and then look into the technologies that we are developing. And that's where we work together with them. So I want to take a look at this picture, right? When we talk about ideation to commercialization, how do we actually commercialize technologies at hand? A lot of the companies, a lot of the researchers, right, the schools over here in Taiwan has very, very good idea. In fact, I talk with a lot of schools over here, a lot of founders over here, great IPs. But the thing is that they don't know how to fit into the future of mobility, the future of technology in the automotive business. So I say, look at this picture. Think about the future that you imagine, as crazy as possible. Flying cars, right? Maybe, I know, hyperloops, for example, robots that's carrying you around. Maybe you have a nanny robot that's piggybacking you all around town. Potentially, yes, right? So when you look at these photos, and that's how Continental takes a look at the future, is we see last mile delivery robots, autonomous buses, right? Autonomous drones, agricultural tractors and all in this photo. You can see mobility from sea, from sky, right, on road and off-road. So how do we fit our technology into here, you might say? Now we have the future at hand. That's the North Star that we see. Now we create a storyline. So I want the founders, often enough, to go back and think about a storyline that you have. So I take an example of this, that I'm now staying in Nangang. and I'm thinking of getting a hot pot, Hai Di Lao, right, or Ding Tai Fung in Xingyi area, right? So I need to get there. You are living in a smart home, for example, right? And you have Alexa or Google Home and whatever AI over there that you talk to. This morning, your wife fight with you because the dog, of some dog problem or your child's problem, right? You are not feeling that well. Alexa knows it, Google knows it, or in the cloud. And you say that, okay, now I need to relax myself and go to Xingyi and have a good hot pot. So the smart home books the restaurant for you and prepare your vehicle. So there's a vehicle preparation and understanding that there is certain jams on some roads, they do a rerouting for you on the nearest route. And now you have your ETA as well, right? Now I upload your information, user profile onto the cloud, and now your car knows that you are unhappy today because of the fight this morning. It understands what type of songs you like, what type of mood you are in, what type of lighting should be. So when the car comes at the time where you want to leave your house, it comes right in front of your house. It has all your profile in it. Now you have access technology that is needed, right? How can I recognize that you are you? There's a lot of technologies over here, right? And then there's a customized environment in the car. The car is self-driving, for example, right? Then the car is able to monitor the mood, environment, the situation in the vehicle. And then it's playing the entertainment to you, be it a movie, be it a song or music, for example. That's important, right? So taking here as an example, this is where the car is totally customized around you because knowing your profile and knowing who you are. While we are driving towards the restaurant has already been booked. And how do I get a ready meal at the side? It's because maybe when you're driving, while the car is driving itself, you're looking at the menu and choosing what's the food that you want, right? And they know that ETA, you are going to be there in, say, 15 minutes. So your seat has been ready, your food is ready on the table. When you reach, it's hot, and you can start your meal directly. Your car will reach the location, automatically do a payment for you, parking for you, right? And automatically charge it. So this is a storyline that we have in mind, right? Now we have all these storylines. Now how do we go to technology? So I take it as example of access. When your car reaches you and how do you access it is to understand what you look like, right? Or who are you? How do I identify you? So there's a lot of things that you can do to have access and recognition. Number 1, facial recognition. Number 2, your keyless fob. Number 3, thumbprint. Number 4, it can be eyeball recognition. Number 5, recognizing your tongue. Number 6, your blood test, right? I can prick my hand and I drop a blood inside to recognize that this is you, right? Or even so, in a medical term, I can recognize you through your urine. But you don't want to do that, right? But exhaustively, it is possible. Think as crazy as possible. What are the exhaustive solutions over there? And then think from there that what are the possibilities that you can sell and create a story. Now, your IP comes in. The technology that you have, how does it fit in? Is it a sensor? Right? If it's a camera, RBG camera, how can I use an RBG camera in this situation? What is the back-end algorithm that I need? What is the platform that I need? And then go further into it. What type of data do I need to train? Right? So you have now a bomb of ideas, a bomb of technologies that's needed, and how you fit into the value chain. And now you have your storyline, and you know how to build around your storyline to sell to your customers. And you also know now a direction, a North Star that you are going to head towards to create technology surrounding that IP that will help you develop into a full-fledged product. Right? So now you're from ideation, you go into a product base and creating an MVP. So these are some of the things that is a buzzword within the organization and within the automotive space. It's not exhaustive, but it creates a lot of buzz in the automotive space over here, right? For example, eVTOL, UAM, PMD, scooters used to be a very big thing around here as well, right? Then you have U-bikes and all that's around. All of these are mobility. So think of the future of mobility in a way where how can we move around, not just with vehicles, but also with other forms of transportation as well, right? These are all the ways, because at the end of the day, the end goal is to move yourself from one place to another. Car, motorbikes and all is just a means of tools. So there's a lot of ways for you to imagine that. So talking about commercialization with us, I talk about the process within Continental, and I want to show you some of the technologies that we have commercialized ourselves. The future of transportation, when we say that it's going to be autonomous, self-driving and all, right, it's going to be one that you are hands off, legs off, eyes off, right? You don't even care about the environment, right? So the entertainment is going to be very important in the future. In fact, when all cars goes into electrification, the platform is going to be around the same, right? It's all battery driven. So there's no longer V6 engine, 4 in line, direct injections and all. So is powertrain the most important thing that is on your mind now when you're buying it? Especially when you're buying the same series within the same brands, right? The platform is the same. The skateboard technology is the same. So entertainment becomes the one that is going to be very unique to the vehicle. The only thing that differentiates them is the experience that you're going to have. So within Continental, we are developing a lot of entertainment products. For example, our displays. The display within the vehicle itself is similar to your phone. It's getting bigger and bigger. And we are developing this, for example, the pillar-to-pillar display currently for the latest vehicles for our customers. And in the future, when we are saying eyes off, legs off, hands off, the whole vehicle itself might be a full screen internally, and you can watch a movie, sing a karaoke while you are driving from Taipei to Kaohsiung, right? That's the future. Some of the other technologies that we have is to continuously improve on the controllers. We have over here the HPC, high performance computers, that we continuously improve to have more applications to be on it. And then from here, we know that there's a lot of innovation that's needed. For example, with an increased amount of processing, the heat is going to increase. How can we reduce the heat, for example? That's one of the biggest pain points that we have, right? On top of that, radar system, LiDAR systems, what is the future of autonomous mobility? What is the product that we need over there? How can we improve it? Better resolutions, better separations, for example, identifications, right? Access to vehicles, for example, is going to be different, right, in the future. How are we going to access? Is it facial recognitions, for example, right? Or is it really blood recognitions, for example? It's possibility, right? So we are commercializing this, and we are talking constantly to the customers, the OEMs, on what is the future of such technologies. So we are often open to new innovations from the ecosystem to talk to us and create new out-of-the-box ideas. In terms of ContiTech, for example, I'll not go too much into this because this is not automotive, but we have in many, many industries itself, agricultural to home building, right, construction, to mining industries and all. So predictive maintenance, for example, how can we improve services to our customers is superbly important, creating value. End of the day, it is important for us to continuously create value for our customers. In fact, I'll give you that Continental is never the cheapest solution in the market, but yet we are one of the market leaders in the industry. Why? Because there's a lot of other values that we create for them. Quality, for example, is one. And then last is our tires products. A lot of you know that we make tires, but not knowing how we test the tires. As you can see over here, the Batmobile, right? It looks like a Batmobile. It's basically how we test your tires. We make sure that the tires that we get onto your car is as of the quality that we claim to be. Top quality for you, so top quality lab that we have. And when we look at technologies with the startups, we make sure that before commercialization, you are up to the speed and up to the spec that we are expecting our customers to get. To put it in line to the car itself, you look at the number of products that we have in the market, right? Putting it into one of my favorite cars, the ID4, right? A lot of technologies is in place over here. ContiTech to Conti tires, right, to automotive side. From the tires to the interior textile, right, all of it within Continental. We work a lot with the OEMs to create the future automobility. And that is where we welcome a lot of ideas and innovations from them so that we can move things from ideation to commercialization. My last slide over here is for you to think about. Some of the questions that we often ask startups or small and medium enterprise when they're working with us. What is the problem that you are solving? Number one. Number two, what is the solution to the problem? Right? What is your solution? Do a quick one. Don't have to be very detailed, but the one that raised the interest, the main points that raised the interest. Who are your main competition? Right? This will say, why you? Right? Because your competition is doing this as well. This goes to the fourth point. What is your unique selling point? Why should I choose you? Why should I work with you and not work with Infineon, TI, Qualcomm, right? Why should I work with you? And last one is, how do you think you can create value for my company or any company that you are engaging with, large corporates? What type of value do you think we can co-create together? That will be important. So put it into perspective, create a storyline, think about the future, sell a dream, because that's important. The biggest problem that I meet with Taiwanese startups over here is the storyline that they create is not as attractive as it should be. But technology-wise, I find that Taiwan is extremely good. Sometimes even better, I would say, than those technologies I see in the Silicon Valley or Israel, right? But why is it that people are not engaging over here? It's because the story that you tell is not as engaging as them. And this is something that I identify over here and hope to help the ecosystem over here to raise the standard. With that, we are able to bring Taiwanese technologies to the world. I hope to engage with all of you. Thank you very much for having me today.
Thank you,
Thank you very much.
Mr.
And let's
Khoo, for your
the ideas
encouragement.
shape the future.
Thank you. And thank you for letting us know how Continental goes from ideation to commercialization. Next up, our speaker, Dr. Volker Kaese. He's the CTO of Product and Production from Indigo Technologies. I will not, waste more of the time. Let's just invite Dr. Kaese onto the stage. And I'll hand over the stage to Dr. Kaese, please.
So, hello, good afternoon from me. I'm a German car engineer. My motivation to you today is to invite you to work with Indigo, one of the car companies, and I give you a short overview, 6 slides, what we are doing and where we want to collaborate with you. So Indigo is an MIT spin-off. It's not a Taiwan startup. It comes originally from the MIT, and we're building there the next generation of electric vehicle. How we are doing this and what's in the vehicle, I will point out to you. For my background, I have been 20 years with the VW Group. Highlights of my career were building the first hybrid car at VW, 307 miles per gallon. I was part of the first battery projects at VW, and my last career step was transition of Audi from ICEs to EVs. And when I told my daughter what I'm doing, she had told me at a Christmas, "Daddy, you're telling me this 3 years again the same story." And this gave me a very direct feedback that I look maybe for a new challenge. And this is Indigo, and I will bring you a little bit in this. So Indigo is a new class of electric vehicle, and why this is needed comes with the first slide here. Electric delivery and ride-hailing are on the rise, and there are no purpose-built vehicle in this. The background is, as we heard already from Rahil, that in Taiwan, 2040, all cars will be electric vehicles. But the story starts earlier. In 2030, all delivery vehicles, ride-hailing vehicles in New York, in California, must be zero emission. And there is no other solution than zero emission vehicles, battery electric vehicles. You know maybe about fuel cell projects. Fuel cells at the moment are going to heavy trucks, class 8. Several OEMs are doing this. But for smaller ride-hailing cars, the only solution we have at the moment is battery electric vehicles. This upcoming trend here, you see the violet line. These light commercial vehicles is a special group. As the Audi guys said in the beginning, we have a rising market of vehicles, especially light vehicles. This is especially the group in the passenger cars, light commercial vehicles. Overall markets worldwide are rising from today's sales, 75 to 80 million cars, and even ride-hailing and a lot of car sharing is happening. In 2035, we have 110 million vehicles. This additional comes by more population and new emerging markets with go as well for individual mobilization. If you are driving with a ride-hailing here in Taiwan, you drive mostly a RAV4. This is a very popular car in the US as well. But for delivery, the problem is people who are doing the last mile delivery, they do not own a new car. They buy a Camry in US. In Germany, they have little delivery trucks, but they are never the first owner of these vehicles. In 2030, all these guys need an electric vehicle. And the only cars which are in the market are in the price range between 40,000 and 80,000 or more US dollars. So no one will go there with a Lucid, which has maybe 130,000 US dollars MSRP, but you definitely don't go with a Model Y and make a package delivery. So there's a real problem, and we will solve this problem with a purpose-built vehicle. The next slide shows exactly the problem or the portfolio of vehicles which are on the market. The fully bottom, you know, is the Class 8. You see the Tesla Cybertruck. You see the Nikola, which is as well electric driven, but has shown some weeks ago already a fuel cell. Even a Toyota, which is building fuel cells passenger vehicles, you know, the Mirai, is doing as another project for its truck department a fuel cell vehicle. If you go through this, you see a lot of commercial vehicles. They are more tools. They have nothing to do with the comfort or the price tag of a passenger car. They are really commercial tools. What you need is in, what you don't need is not in there because no one is paying for this. The only thing what you pay for is reliability and cargo space or weight. If you look then to the top, the last one is the green bar. This is a vehicle, it's a Wuling from China. This vehicle is imported by GM to the US to have a smallest, lightest van electric delivery. This comes very cheap, very easy, and has only an inductive motor. But even this car is too big for delivery and ride-hailing, so we are building this new vehicle, and you already see on the top line, we call it subclass 1. This vehicle has gross weight, so all in, including passengers, of 1,600 kilograms. This is very light. So the lightest cars I have been building were this XL1, the first hybrid. It has exactly this 1,500 pounds. I built an Audi A2 and reduced the weight by factor 3, but these were all like 200 cars built or one-offs. What we are doing here is we are doing mass mobilization, and we are bringing these delivery vehicles and ride-hailing vehicles to the market in 2026, because in 2030, the market has to be turned fully over, so you cannot bring the vehicle in 2030 because then the customer's already dead because he has no vehicle which is purpose-built. So what we are doing here, a little bit like car engineering. On the left side, you see a traditional electric vehicle. You have in the front and the rear, you have a radial motor. You see it's radial, it's quite long. And this motor is taking the space, the trunk, and the front. The front compartment is called frunk in electric vehicles, but mostly the space is taken. Some cars, like the Rivian and the Ford Lightning, they have the classic vehicle architecture, and you can put a lot of things in there, but no one is using this because people are used to have a trunk in the rear of the vehicle. But you see the middle section of the car, maybe 60% of the vehicle you can use as a passenger, and everything else is taken by technology. These cars are as well quite heavy, as I pointed out. Premium cars are big, heavy, to give a lot of comfort and space. We are going a fully different way, and as I have been responsible as well in my past careers at VW and Audi as well for the vehicle concept, we make the next step to a new electric vehicle architecture. A lot of companies are offering hub motors. Hub motors means that in the rim of the vehicle, in each corner is a motor. So famous cars, which are as well cooperating here already with Taiwan through MIH as a deep drive. You have a Yasa, which is working with Mercedes or Lamborghini. We have a Schaeffler itself, who's doing this for local delivery vehicles. So hub motors are coming to the market, but the problem with hub motors is they are quite heavy, because all the motor, which you see on the left down with the Tesla, is then in the rims. So if the rims are quite heavy, you have an unsprung mass, and this bumpiness goes over then to the vehicle body. You can reduce this when you make the body very heavy, but then you're losing a lot of advantages of the hub motor, because with a hub motor you have electric vehicle, electric drive, direct drive is driven for efficiency, and to add mass to get this this advantage is a paradox. So what we are doing is we have in each of these corners a motor which itself has its suspension. So you have a very smooth ride with a light vehicle. This is the first concept of these. No other vehicle company in the world is doing this. I have seen Indigo when I've done the scouting for Audi and VW worldwide in 2015 in Hong Kong, first pitch, and we weren't able to integrate this in our cars, because you need a fully different architecture, high voltage cable, cooling cables, you need more space in the wheelhouses, etc. So this is why we are not a wheel company, we are building a fully new car. This is our secret sauce. We are building a lighter car. This has a lower footprint. We have to transport less material to the factory, and the car itself, while it's lighter, has a lower total cost of ownership while driving this vehicle. So I have done crazy lightweight vehicles and technologies. If you're riding today a Bugatti, I have still 16 parts in this. So I'm a materials engineer and I love lightweight engineering. So I'm quite confident that I can achieve this. And we have some design principles in this vehicle. It's called circular economy. You know this from planes, which are introduced in the market in the 60s, and by renewing them, refurbishing them, they are still using the body cell. The metro in Chicago is built by these concepts, but car engineering mostly drives the vehicle 10, 15 years, and then it goes to the steel mill and gets new metal. So what we are doing is we have this longer usability of the car, and the cell of the vehicle lasts longer because the car is not so worn by potholes. We have very smooth roads here in Taiwan, I like it. But if you go to US, I wouldn't call it potholes, it's more glacier cracks. So it's very rough over there. And even California has no freezing times. The roads are covered with potholes. So the technology we are doing here, you see on the left the wheel. And the secret is the blue ring. And this blue ring over there is a special motor technology, so the whole motor is integrated in the rim. To adopt this, we have a quite bigger wheel, and you know this from the VW i3. It's a 19-inch wheel, so it's bigger, because axial flux is not working, as you've seen in the other examples from the Tesla. With a long motor, you need more diameter. But with the diameter, you get a thin slice, and you can integrate this fully into the rim. We have there quite strong IP portfolio. The company is working since 10 years in the surrounding of Boston, MIT, and Northeastern University. So we're putting more and more innovations there, and we have a big uniqueness there to get these patents, this IP portfolio into the market. We're talking to fleet suppliers and fleet customers. I cannot drop a name, but hopefully we can make an announcement in some weeks. I'm the CTO there. I have done in the past car engine vehicles, and my role is for product and production. And the lower footprint does not come only from less material going into the vehicle. We can introduce as well new production methods. What we are doing, we don't have this like 60 steps to produce a car. You know, a normal car rhythm, every 63 seconds, a new rhythm comes, a new station, you have to put pieces in. We are doing this a little bit different. We have a locker frequency, but only 10 steps. So less footprint, we can go to a normal workshop somewhere. We do not need any paint shop because mostly the parts are pre-covered with corrosion protection. And the outer parts, they can click them off and take them down. If there are cracks on it, they are easily replaced and they come as colored to the vehicle. So we have product and production engineering advantages and IP, and it's all around this vehicle, which enable us to have a very, very light vehicle. So this is a little bit background to build the tension, how the car looks. Maybe some of you have seen this already in the past. On the left down, you see we started with these wheels 10 years ago, and we were not able to integrate a proper steering. So left down, you see here, this is the steering, a rear steering of the car, and the two hub motors are integrated in the front because it's easier to control two wheels which are on one axle. Then you have only take care for the differential between left and right. You know, if you're taking a left turn with the vehicle, the left wheel is slower, the outer circle is driving faster, and this is solved in the past with mechanical differentials since 100 years, and today we do this in the electric way. In the middle, then we have another test platform, and we were already able to do a three-wheeler, so we are still on one axle, but with steering integrated, and this car is quite performant, so we can go to 100 Hertz, so this up and down, the shakiness, to eat the potholes in the street. We do not need a sensor to see this. In near real time, the wheel can react to this. I'm not going to show any video here, it's on the web page. And so this gives a very good damping and smooth ride. From this three-wheeler, we decided we are building our own platform, and the platform you see down here. So you know these pictures from sports cars, from Lamborghinis, and my XL1 has as well these pictures. This is a platform, and you see here the front frame, the rear. This is fully different from what a Beetle looks like. The secret sauce is why we took a Beetle. We are car engineers, we love to drive our vehicles in the street. So the rare exception of a Beetle is you have the VIN number on the top head of every vehicle. It's not in the platform. So we will just build a platform like a skateboard and then put the top hat with the VIN number on it. And when the Boston police stops us, they ask for the paper. And we tell them this is a 1973 Beetle. This is the VIN number. These are the papers. And they look to it like, not really, but the papers are correct and they can accept that we are driving in the street. We are not doing this too heavily. We are not going to highways. But we have some crazy hills there in Boston. As you know, it's going up and down. And we can do their nice performance test. The picture right top is in our workshop, and it's not much bigger than this hall here. So it's like Tesla in the early days. Some crazy guys. At the moment, 20+ish people are working on this project, and everyone is there on the ground. So this is a beauty. This is a vehicle from top. The glass, the glazing is tinted because we have some inside innovation there. But to show you this shape, some of you are car guys and you remember the F93, which was the most important research car Mercedes ever did. So in '93, Mercedes made the same shape of the car. And the things you have today in there, the ESC, the ABS, airbags, all this was in this famous research car. And it had as well a very, very progressive seating concept. Means like you have a central driving position in the front, like the Lotus, and in the rear you have a bench where 2 people or 3 people can sit. The advantage is if there's one driver's seat in the front. The passengers are sitting half brick behind it. So everyone, even if you're 2.20 meters, can stretch the legs fully. The second advantage is if you're sitting here and the driver is in the middle, you always look into the street. The advantage of this is 1/3 of every person in this room, by average, is motion sick. You don't get motion sick if you see the horizon and see what's coming to you. So for ride-hailing, it's a very comfortable, smooth ride, and very comfortable because you always see where you're going. There are more advantages in the vehicle. This is a little bit older design. What we are showing here is we have this suspension mechanism. The suspension mechanism can pump the vehicle 10 centimeters up and down, high dynamically while driving. You can do the same and press the vehicle down and hook the suspension system when the vehicle is parked. So one of our patents shows you are pitching the vehicle, going down in the rear, going up in the front, and you can ramp in a load, or in this case, a wheelchair. This is a huge advantage. We can do the same with a rolling. So if you're opening the big door on the left side, you can drive in with a wheelchair. The car goes down, and the height of step in is 20 centimeters. Normally, a car, by average, has a ground clearance of minimum 165 millimeters, so 16.5 millimeter, because the average curb, side curb has a height of 16 centimeters, so you have no damage. So we can go really down, drive in, and the last stage is you just take the driver's seat out, and we will the first car for MSRP around 40,000 US dollars, where you have a fully ADA-capable, wheelchair-capable car. This is quite unique and a very good offer because all the retrofitting of a Toyota Sienna, for example, each of these costs 30,000, the retrofitting. Yeah, but we can bring people who have a wheelchair and want to drive their own car. They roll easily in, lock their wheelchair with a proper mechanism, with a state-of-the-art, and they can drive off. This is very good, as I explained, for delivery, or even if you have neighborhood services like a gardener, someone who's cleaning the pool, some handyman, he just rolls in his container out, and he do not have to put everything in the back, load back of this F-150 truck, whatever. This is my last slide. I want to show you again a little bit about technology and encourage you. Oh, we have a lot of ones here. Maybe this is a little hint. Show you the vehicle once more. This is the rim. This is a classic suspension system you have in every car. And what we are adding here is like this motor. The motor consists of a central rotor. And as I said, we have two motors in there. We have two stators building the house of the vehicle. This is a very unique patent. It works quite well. We are doing our own machining, so we can do everything in our workshop, from like fixing the magnets, machining the whole mechanism. Everything what you see here we can build on our own, so we are quite reactive. If we learn something from the vehicle, we have to change a part, we just do it on our own. The start of production pre-series will be in 2025. Go-to-market will be in 2026. So I hope that this will be in summer 2026. It's the actual planning. And we have a reach out at the moment with a customer pipeline that we do in 2030, 2031, around 400,000 cars per year. This is only the demand which comes from the delivery. Guys like Uber and Lyft are not in this scenario. We will reach out to Taiwan, as I have done this. Volker from the Mosaic Lab. I've done with him in the past the startup scouting, and we are as well eager to reach out to the Taiwan supplier base, because you know 25% of the Tesla parts are still going through Taiwan, so you have a strong ICT background. I would like to invite you to join the movement for a new purpose-built, lighter, smoother ride. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Volker, from your sharing with such a profound experience in the automotive industry with the new class of electric vehicle. Thank you once again, and please return to your seats. Thank you. Up next, our speaker, who is the former Mercedes-Benz Connectivity Service CEO and spent 25 years with the Diamond Group. Let us welcome Mr. Christoph Ludewig. He will be sharing on how data supports fleet electrification. Hand over the stage to you.
Thank you very much. So, good afternoon, everyone. Happy to be here on stage. As mentioned, my name is Christoph. I have a background in the automotive industry and joined about 2 years ago a company called Geotab, which you can see here on screen. Geotab is a telematics company working with data for fleet companies. So, what I want to do in the next 20 minutes, more or less, I want to give you a quick overview of what Geotab is doing, and then head over to put a little bit more focus on the fleet side of things. So we have heard about electrification, we have heard about data is the key, and I want to show you a little bit what this means for fleet companies. And then lastly, a quick and brief overview and outlook on the sustainability, how we help our customers to become more sustainable, how we do it ourselves, and how we do this in our supply chain. So let's start with Geotab. Geotab is a Canadian-based company. It started about 23 years ago. There are roughly 2,200 employees fully dedicated to data and analytics and working with fleet customers and providing data-based products. And in its heart, Geotab is an engineering company. So most of our employees are working in software development and in product creation. Geotab has about 47,000 customers worldwide. The customers are, without exception, fleet customers. So that is rental companies, transport companies, leasing companies, any company that owns vehicles and wants to manage their fleet very efficiently based on data. And what we do is we pull the data out of the vehicles, make this available to the fleet managers, and we are very proud that we can do this for over 9,000 vehicle types and over 300 electric vehicles so far. And this number, 300 electric vehicles, is quite unique on the market. So Geotab is the company who has the broadest access to vehicle data available. Now, some more numbers. What we do among our customer base, we have 3.5 million vehicles connected. So that is 3.5 million vehicles generating and sending data each day, 24 hours a day. And this adds up to roughly 55 billion data points per day that are being processed. And on that map here, you can see that's an actual distribution of GPS positions in North America for 24 hours. So each point here is a GPS position that one of those vehicles has transmitted within 24 hours. The data we capture from the vehicles is GPS, it's traffic information, accelerometer data, engine data, weather data, whatever you have. So as a side note, Geotab is also the largest provider of hyper-local weather information. So we know if there are slippery roads, we know if the windshield wiper is on, then we know it's raining there, we know the temperature, and we can provide this information to, for example, weather stations and TV stations. So how does it work in general? How do we get the data? So on the bottom left side, you see a small device that's called the Go device. That's an OBD dongle that's being installed and put in the vehicle, and that records and captures all the data from the vehicle and then transmitted to the servers. And from there on, the data is being processed, it's analyzed, it's enriched, and then presented in a front end, which is made available to the fleet manager of a company on the computer or on an app. On the left side, you can also see that the vehicles do not necessarily need a Go device installed. Some and daily more vehicles are connected by the OEMs. They generate data, they're connected to the internet. They send data to the cloud of the OEM. And in this case, we work with the OEMs very closely to get access to that data that's being stored on the OEM side, integrate it in the Geotab system, and then make it available to the fleet customers as well. So there is no need to install a hardware device, and the vehicles will be connected on the streets more and more. So that's the basic principle how Geotab works. Now, what can we do with the data, and what, more important, what do the customers do with the data? So there are basically 6 use cases, 6 pillars, what telematics is used for fleet customers. I don't want to go into all the details here, except for the sustainability part. But starting from the left, so productivity. Fleet managers, they always have an interest that the company is productive, that the people using the vehicle is productive, that the vehicles are on the road, and that there are no unplanned stops. And if there's anything happen, they want to be aware of this, and they want to optimize the routes and so on. On the optimization side, this is on really helping to keep the vehicle on the street, keep it fully functional. So this is about maintenance. You want to know proactively when the next maintenance is due, if there are any unplanned failures, any problems with the vehicle. As a fleet manager, you want to know this. And so you want to make use of the diagnostic data and really make sure that you know that your vehicle is in good shape. On the safety side, this is very important. So the fleet managers want to make sure that the vehicle is safe, but even more, that the driver is safe. So that the driver is driving very, let's say, careful, that it's driving safe, that's that collisions are being noticed in case there are any collisions. If there are major collisions, that they can react promptly to help the driver, and so on and so forth. Skipping sustainability for a moment, going to the compliance side. Compliance side is about tracking work hours, tracking any regulations for tax purposes, what you need. So that's what you use the data for. And expandability means that you can attach more devices to the Go device, and for example, NFC sensors or any other hardware, but also very much also integration of other systems to the Geotab system. Now, sustainability, this is very important. It's becoming more and more important. Here, the fleet manager want to make sure that the fuel consumption is reduced. They want to make sure that the CO2 emissions are reduced, and they want to make sure that they can transition their fleet to EVs and introduce electric vehicles to their fleet. Now, this leads to some questions that fleet managers have. They start with Go electric. So the question is, should I really introduce electric vehicles to my fleet? Then move over to Operate electric and ask, what if I have electric vehicles? How can I manage those vehicles? And then Scale electric means once the basic processes in the fleet work, then you can introduce more vehicles, and you really can then scale and transition your complete fleet to electric vehicles. On the Go electric side, they ask themselves, what vehicles are available in the market? And do these vehicles have enough range to fulfill my job? Remember, fleet managers, unlike private persons, they don't manage the vehicles for fun. The vehicles have a business purpose. They're on the street to earn money, so the fleet managers have to make sure that the vehicles don't have any downtime and that they're fully charged all the time and so on. On the Operate electric side, the questions are drivers plugging in the vehicles so they remain charged and can charge overnight? Which vehicles do need to be charged, and how much actually does it cost to have these electric vehicles in the fleet? And then on the last on the right side, Scale electric is what does it mean in total? Do I have the ROI I expected from transitioning to fleet? What are the costs I have? and do I meet my carbon goals I have set out to support the sustainability strategy in my company. So these are all kind of questions the fleet managers have, and data can help to answer these questions. And I will give you a few examples how this can be done. Now on the Go Electric side, to start with, this is where the fleet managers ask themselves, which vehicles can I take into my fleet and how do I do this? And here we have a tool which is called EVSA, the Electric Vehicle Suitability Assessment. This tool uses the real data of the fleet and analyzes it. How many vehicles are there in that fleet? What's the trip distance of those vehicles? What's the fuel consumption of those vehicles? And takes everything into account it needs to know to make a proposal which and how many vehicles can be exchanged to electric vehicles. Now remember, as a fleet manager, you want to really know and make a decision, make an informed decision, and not just buy electric vehicles and then see what happens. You want to know beforehand what will be the impact of my cost, not only purchasing cost, but also operational cost, TCO. And this tool can give you the answer because it does not only give you, it doesn't give you any theoretical information and any list price of a vehicle. It gives you the real information of your fleet and shows which vehicle really can be exchanged with an electric vehicle, what will be the electric consumption, and what will be the cost for the vehicle, and what will be the cost for operating this vehicle. So you have real data from your own fleet to make a decision to introduce electric vehicles to your fleet. Now, we did this and ran this tool not only for a single customer, but for many customers in our European fleet. Of course, this is anonymized, but we took 46,000 vehicles, run this tool in 17 countries in Europe. The basis were the 2021 fuel consumption and prices for electric vehicles to have a baseline. And the result was that of the current fleet in Europe, of these 46,000 vehicles that we have in our system, about 60% could be exchanged to electric vehicles. And these vehicles would not only meet the range expectation the customers have, it would also reduce the operational cost in that fleet if transitioning from ICE vehicles to EV vehicles. 27% of those vehicles were range capable, so they could do the job, but they were more expensive than the current ICE vehicles, based on consumption or based on purchasing price. And only 14% of those vehicles would remain better as ICE vehicles and not be exchanged to EV vehicles. So this in euros meant that per vehicle, roughly over a period of 7 years, 9,000 euros could be saved. In total, there was 260 million euros that could have been saved if those 86% vehicles would be exchanged to EV vehicles. So there is a business case for companies to transition to EV and save money. And this is exactly what this tool can help to identify before and not only after you have EVs. Now, continuing, after you have some vehicles in your fleet, you want to operate those. The second step, you remember, operating fleet. Now, here you're interested in learning and knowing when a vehicle is low on charge in your fleet. So, of course, the data can tell you immediately if the battery state of charge is below whatever you define. Maybe you want to get an information if it's below 20%, then you know you need to become active and tell your driver, hey, that vehicle is below 20% state of charge, please plug it in. Or you can also tell the system, hey, I want to know if a vehicle is on my premises with a state of charge below, let's say 20%, but it's not being plugged in. So maybe the driver forgot to plug it in the evening. Now the next morning, when the driver returns to the vehicle, it's not fully charged and he cannot do the job. So here you can tell the system, please let me know immediately if the vehicle is on my premises but not being charged, so that I can react, that I can plug it in. Or of course you want to know when the charging is complete. You know, maybe you have more vehicles in your fleet than you have charging stations on your premises. So then you need to know if one vehicle is fully charged, then you can plug it off, take the next vehicle and have it charged so that the next morning all vehicles are fully charged. These are just a few examples where data really helps you to manage your fleet. Now, next one, scale electric. Once you have the basic processes covered in your fleet, and then you want to scale and really transition your fleet completely to electric vehicles. And then, of course, you want to know what's the bottom line. What's the fuel consumption or electric consumption in that case? How does it compare to the past when I had to purchase for fuel? Do I save money? What's the average fuel consumption of my fleet? Can I improve the fuel consumption of my fleet? What do I do if I have plug-in hybrids in my fleet and the drivers just use the ICE engine? They don't use the electric engine in the plug-ins. It's very convenient to use the fuel in the plug-ins and not use the electric motor. But that's not why you as a fleet manager have purchased plug-ins. You want to make sure that the drivers also use the electric engine and not only the ICE engine. So that's what you can find out here, of course. Now, to give another example, which we did with Enterprise, the rental company, they transitioned to EV for a few vehicles and wanted to know what would be the effect. And they found out that roughly 13% of the current vehicles could be transitioned to EVs. They have roughly 90,000 vehicles in their fleet in Europe. 13% could be exchanged to EVs immediately. Another 45% of that fleet could be exchanged when the respective vehicle types, mainly SUVs and pickups, would be available. Now this is an example from North America where we have pickups vehicles in the fleet. Now once all of these capable vehicles would be exchanged, they would save about $33 million and would save roughly 200,000 tons CO2 emission over 4 years, which is quite significant. So, and this is the statement, the quote that we got from Enterprise, which pretty much exactly describes what we can do with the data in transitioning fleets. It says, and Enterprise says, we are not in the business of guessing how things will impact our fleet. We want to use real-world data to help our customers any way we can. And the keyword here is real-world data. And that's what you only get if you have the vehicle data, if you get the data at the source in the vehicle, and have the right tools to analyze the data and make informed decisions. Now, last slide here. On the top, that's what we've talked about. We've talked about how fleet customers can use data, how they can use systems to analyze data, how they can decide to go electric, to operate electric, and scale electric. On the left side, you can see what Geotab does internally. It's not only that we want to help our customers to be more sustainable, we want to do it ourselves, of course, as well. So we have several initiatives running. We use science-based targets. We have some awards already for that. But what I really wanted to highlight here is on the right side, one of our partners, one of our suppliers, is based in Taiwan. It's company WNC. They manufacture the Go device, the small OBD device you saw on one of the first pages. And just yesterday, I met with their Chief Sustainable Officer, Molly, and I was really, really impressed how WNC is taking sustainability serious here. So they have a renewable energy usage rate of 6.7% last year. Greenhouse gas emissions reduced by 34%, and waste recycling rate is at 84%, which is really, really great. And they have just started. No, they have not just started. They're doing this for 10 years, but they're continuing and pushing this more and more to become more sustainable and more environmentally friendly, which is a perfect fit to our own philosophy, but also how we all together in this ecosystem want to help our customers to become more climate friendly and help to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. So, having said this, are there any questions from the audience? I am happy to answer. That's not the case, then it looks like I've explained everything and everybody understood, or it was so complicated that nobody dares to ask questions. So in any case, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ludewig, for sharing from the perspective of Geotab and letting us know what is your solution. Thank you once again to all our speakers for the insightful sharing and the audiences for joining us today. Rest assured, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your participation in this afternoon's Next Generation EV Innovation Summit. We now open the floor for our networking session. If there are any questions, please take this opportunity and check with our speakers from today. They're experts in the field and flying from different countries. Thank you once again. We wish you a pleasant and productive afternoon.